Hello. Hi. Yeah, I'm doing it again. Today we're going to be speaking about the item that's in this big ass picture behind her. Behind me? Yeah, behind me. Whatever. Anyways, I believe this is pronounced Corrasion. Anyways, it is of the it is a pulse rifle of the heavy burst ilk. That archetype got a pretty big damage increase recently. Basically putting it on par with the previous meta of just run a damn hand cannon. Um, Here is my reference sheet for that. And this reference sheet is old, but the only change that's been made, that's relevant anyway, would be the aggressive frame scout rifles have been increased by 30% across the board. So, um, they just don't suck now. I don't think they're meta anything. They just don't suck. So, yay. Regardless, we want to bring our attention to the heavy bursts here and in blue. And as you can see, the only other thing that is close to this damage in blue would be an exotic hand cannon and sunshot. Why do I use the blue? Because if you're looking at a primary for ad clear, then getting a 100 reload stat and a 0.8% scalar would be that's what I'm looking for here. Ideal. Yeah, it would be ideal. That's kind of its job. And as you can see, this archetype holds up quite well. The only thing that's better than it is an exotic from a different archetype because its archetype exotics are even better than that. Nice. So now we're gonna quickly mention another reference sheet again by Mossy Max on Twitter. I did not make this. I am using it for content. Thanks, dude. Regardless, this is DPS against elite enemies or yellow bars, as I like to call them. Now, for me, I believe that the green is the most important for these because you're really just trying to do as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time, regardless, against them. And if it takes more than one magazine, you should be swapping weapons or throwing a grenade or something like that anyway. So, at least that's my thought process. So, with that being said, yeah, what's better than it? Auto rifles, 120 hand cannons. I don't really count SMGs as sidearms because of their poor range. Trace rifles, but they have special ammo, and rocket assisted sidearms. But again, they're rocket assisted sidearms, so those things are just ridiculous regardless. So all this just to say, this thing holds up wonderfully, at least as far as damage is concerned. So that is not an issue. I'm gonna put up these. Oh, did the right thing? Yeah. Bam, movie magic fixed it regardless of what I was talking about previously. What I'm going to speak on now is Corrasion itself compared to its peers. This Corrasion, I actually messed up this picture. You can see it at the top here. This is giving it 10 handling, which means that this gun is the same or worse in every statistical category compared to all of its legendary peers. It is a brand new archetype, but the reason why this is okay is because the Corrasion is craftable, so you can just put that extra handling or whatever else you want on it anyway. And it is not, and it doesn't come from one of the in-game activities, such as both Aisha's Care, which comes from Trials, and Nullify, which comes from the newest raid, the latest raid. Um, so if you're looking at this and you're disappointed, don't be, because the stats are almost the same everywhere. The only thing that I think is a big difference really would be the reload speed on Nullify is pretty high in comparison to the 38 reload speed on Corrasion, but you have options for that, which is good. I also wanted to mention the different bands here. So for Corrasion, if you go at 70 range, you're at 36 meters. 100 range, you're at 40 meters. And these are all things you can get by just adding barrels and magazine options and masterworks and whatnot. Your reload band is at 36, so at base 2 seconds, well 2.12 seconds, and then if you put all the reload speed up to 61, then you can get 1.7 seconds of reload time, which is nice. Those are the only bands that I think are important here. So now we will move on to the traits. Now, the way I see this gun is at base game or in game, you use this for ad clear. Quite safe ad clear, to be specific. And in base game, I think you can go either eddy current or air trigger and volt shot. Volt shot is great for ad clear, just based off the way that jolt works. It's really good. It's also pretty good for single target, adding damage to single targets. Eddy current pairs well with volt shot if you're running prismatic or arc and you are amplified, then you get a huge reload increase, which again, when we went over the DPS charts, means that this thing will be cooking. Air trigger is a way to get a huge reload multiplier without having to get a kill, but the caveat is that you have to hop in the air, which I do not personally like to do, but I felt it necessary to place it here regardless, because I think there's not much that's better than this. And then if you're using this in in-game, the biggest things you want to focus on is traits that require you to not have to get a kill, which is the only reason why I didn't take Volt Shot. Although realistically, you probably still could put Volt Shot at number 4. But if you really, really wanted to stick to that, then One for All. 30, I think it's 30, might be 35% damage increase for 10 seconds, and you just got to tag 3 targets. That's good. Enlightened Action. You just deal damage, and deal damage will make the gun feel better and reload faster, or max out reload. The reload stat. You still probably want to find a multiplier somewhere, so alloy magazine more than likely, but that's still really good. There are still other options if what I mentioned for some reason doesn't excite you. I was trying the role that I think makes the gun most unique, which would be high impact reserves in that third column, and frenzy. High impact reserves because damage increase and all you got to do is deal damage, and frenzy because all you got to do is deal damage, and just don't reload until you hit the bottom of the magazine. But if you are a habitual reloader, then you could find issue with this role, which I did, and I'm going to change mine to one of the previous stated ones. Also wanted to go over the origin trait. Leaving a pool of death is nice. Doesn't require much. You just gotta get kills. So yeah, so in the end here, my recommendation for this is really simple. Go fucking get it. It is the new best archetype. It is hella meta based purely off its archetype. That's ignoring the roles it can have. It is the first legendary burst pulse rifle with volt shot, which is about as dope as you would imagine it would be. Like I said, I'm going to change mine. Also, really want to shout out High Ground as another alternative to an end game. It doesn't necessarily require a kill. You just got to be higher than other people, and you get a 25% damage increase. But I still stuck with One for All because it's just slightly higher and slightly more work, slightly more thought. That's it. So yeah, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Later.